Hi. And I have no audio.
I hear you.
Of course, I don't have audio. Okay, hold on. You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I can't. You can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's weird. Something doesn't sound right on my end, but we're going to work with it. Like I said, I'm trying to fly this ship here. Hi, welcome to the Movie Madhouse. I'm Jason.
I'm James.
Rob is unfortunately away attending a funeral in Quebec. Condolences out to the brother. So we're just going to chit-chat for a bit. I'm trying to fly this ship with my laptop, but record with my phone. So, yeah, I'll be doing a lot of this. And you know what state I am in. Let's admit it. So let's just do this. I really want to, because it's been on my mind a lot more lately. I've been hearing a few more people have come out speaking on this topic. The concept of Marvel movies not being films. You know, what Martin Scorsese said. Now, from what I was told just today, apparently Scorsese did a follow-up where he better explained his platform. My son told me.
You mean he backpedaled?
Not exactly. But my son just gave me the brief rundown of he explained it in a better context. So I need to check it out. I do want to check that out. But it's Elizabeth Olsen did an interview recently. I wonder why. And she said that diminishing what a Marvel movie is severely downplaying all the people that put their work into it.
Absolutely.
You know, these productions, they employ thousands of people. So, you know, there's, you know, by diminishing what they are, you're diminishing that aspect of it.
Yeah. And okay, I was going to get specific, but it still encompasses all the thousands of people working on it. You're diminishing some A-list. Some of the Marvel movies get A-list writers in there.
Mm-hmm.
A-list directors. You got Kenneth Branagh, who did the first Thor movie.
Okay, you got to think. You got to think of it, and what we're basically talking is your more what you would call art cinema versus your mainstream popcorn entertainment.
Yeah.
Okay, but the mainstream popcorn entertainment, when you think about it, their writing is actually better, or at least much more highly skilled, because they are writing and having to grab the attention of a fan base that has a 2-second attention span. There's so much popping all around them at all times. Oh, look over here. Oh, remember me? Oh, look over here. Hey, look at me. You know, so much of it that when they manage to break through and they get a firm grasp on the attention for a little while, they want to be able to do that. So when you get something like all the praise that Spider-Man No Way Home got, you know, the praise that Doctor Strange 2 has gotten, just everything all the Marvel does when it comes to box office records, all that stuff. There's something about the writing involved there to pull that off, you know.
Yeah.
There is some serious meat to those meals. You know, yeah, there's a lot of extra frills, but there's some serious meat to them.
It also sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I know the argument's probably a year or two old by now, but it also, a well-respected director opens himself up for criticism when he throws out a thing saying these Marvel comic book movies aren't cinema. Okay, a recent movie Martin Scorsese did was The Irishman for Netflix. A lot of them could argue movies for the small screen aren't cinema.
That's why they had to release it. They have to release it like on one screen.
Well, yeah. If he wants any Oscar consideration, it was still for Netflix.
That's still the credibility. They still have to get them a small screening.
Yeah, no. But my point is, it was a movie made for Netflix, and that's not the big screen. People could argue that's not cinema. The movie he won his first Best Director Oscar for, The Departed. It's a remake. Some could argue, well, you made a remake, be original. Yeah, that's not cinema.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right. It does, but mostly it does come. Of course, as with all of this, it comes down to personal perspective, personal preference. You know, that's what everybody forgets, and I'm guilty of it too sometimes. But I like to play into it a little bit more just to have fun with it. You know, getting fake offended. Because that's just what I like to do. But it's when some people get really loud about it or really snobby about it, that's when it bothers me. But even though we can acknowledge that the writing for these things is great, to me, the only reason I care is I want them to see them get the same recognition. You know, whether you put stock in it or not, that means that they've finally got acceptance when they're getting proper recognition. So, which
I think they did when Black Panther got nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, but Black Panther had a whole other thing behind it, and there's no denying that put a whole different shadow over that, to give it a little something extra that might put things in a different thought.
Sure.
You know, and I'm not saying that that's wrong. Absolutely not. Black Panther to me was really good for what it was. Just didn't quite meet what I'll enjoy to go back to.
Okay.
It's one of those Marvel movies I haven't gone back to. I've watched it twice. That's it.
I've watched it more than that. It was one that I wasn't that impressed with when I saw it first, much like Doctor Strange too. But
now I'm been toying with. I may go through an entire saga run. I may start to go through that, not like in a hard progression, but I may start at the beginning and go through the entire saga.
It's fun, and it was. I did it. I've done that, and I've also done the chronological order one, which isn't as fun.
No, I'd go with release. I'd go by release.
Yeah, because the Stingers throw a wrench into that whole mix. Yeah. But yeah, it's worth it going from beginning to current end.
Yeah. But until we see them finally getting the proper recognition, that's when I think, okay, there we go. We've reached that point, and I think we're going to be getting there. I honestly think. As with a lot of things going on, our generation are kind of in control of Hollywood right now, so that's why we're getting our all this great stuff that we're enjoying. It's all made for us. Now we just got to get them into the higher positions of power in the studios and whatnot. Weasel gets finally somebody into that mythical academy, wherever the hell they are. And, we'll start seeing some changes. I think we just need a little bit more push, and we'll be getting in there. You can't stop the nerd tidal wave. It's coming. Now, in that same vote, now talking about the movies and how they're treated or respected, if you will. It goes with acting. And I know we've had these conversations already. It's been, again, on my mind a lot more lately because we've been seeing some really, really interesting and fantastic acting. But why don't John Cena in Peacemaker. Okay, as weird and off the wall and batshit insane that show is, what John Cena delivers specifically for that character, he makes you believe that he is that character, feeling those emotions, all of it, and especially the weakest moments.
It is some of the best. More specifically, the Peacemaker show than Suicide Squad.
Yes,
it's some of the best acting of his career. Yes, not a very long career, but yeah,
the Peacemaker movie, like the Peacemaker in the movie, served his purpose as that really awkward, goofy comic badass. You know, he served that purpose with that big flash of intensity at the very end. You know, the show has taken it and given us so much more to that core, and that's a neat trend that's going on right now. Because have you been watching Shoresy yet?
Not yet. No.
The Letterkenny spinoff.
No, not yet.
I have watched. They put out 2 episodes the first week. They put two episodes out again last week, and I think we get 2 more later this week. I think they're only doing 6, but I'm not sure. But I've watched all of them 3 times already. And yes, I'm biased because I adore Letterkenny. That's well documented. But what I've going into this, knowing so little about Shoresy the character, and knowing just that he is what Shoresy is, you know, he's just an ass. They have expanded that character's perspective so much, and the 4th episode truly just it throws a big spotlight. It's like a big reveal regarding the Shoresy character. It's a massive reveal episode.
My best friend was watching it, and he was telling me about I wasn't sure that he was a fan of Letterkenny, but clearly he is if he's watching Shoresy. But he said it's hilarious as you expect, but it loses a little of the magic because normally you never see Shoresy's face in Letterkenny.
Yes, but that's just it. Now we do see his face, and I've now have this kind of wish that is in the realm of possibility, is that at some point down the road, Rob manages to book the Letterkenny crew for CK Expo. And I want to challenge Jared Kiso to perform a conversation between Wayne and Shoresy on stage. Because the physical transformation to switch from one to the other and back again in a quick progression, I feel like has to be a difficulty 8 or 9. Just from the stature, their varied stature, the facial expressions, you know, because Wayne is so stone faced most of the time, right?
Oh yeah,
he's got to be clenching to do that constantly.
His
but
eyes.
With Shoresy, he's all over the place, especially with his eyes when he does the pouty face. He's so emotional. Like, oh my God. Like, yeah, I'm starting to spoil it. I gotta stop.
Okay.
But that's the trend. It's you're getting these characters where you have a little bit of an introduction to, and you see this side of them. And now we get to see this other side, the real story, the real them, and they become very sympathetic. And then you're rooting for them, and it's really a really neat trend. And you know, we've been seeing it for years, but it's always been on a more cartoony level, like with all the villains turn good guys in cartoon movies and stuff.
Yeah,
you know, so it's now that effect is starting to build up a little bit more.
Who all from Letterkenny? No, let me rephrase that. Do any of the Letterkenny crews show up on Shoresy?
Jonathan Torrance and Jacob Tierney come in the 4th episode.
Oh, so the Mr. Dick and what the hell is Jacob Tierney's
Noah Dick and Pastor Glenn.
Pastor Glenn, right?
Yes. Tierney's directing all these, by the way.
Oh, is he?
So yes,
He's a
and
great
Kiso's
actor
writing.
director.
Kiso's writing and Tierney's directing. Yeah, I've always heard about this movie because it comes up on a bunch of lists for like best Canadian films, and I don't think I ever watched it. But it's called The Trotsky.
Oh,
With
Jay
Jay
Baruchel.
Baruchel.
Yeah, it was.
Jacob Tierney wrote and directed that.
Oh, nice.
So I want to check this out now.
It used to play. The trailer used to play before the movie. A lot of the movies we had, I think it was in St. Thomas at the theater. They had the Trotsky on like a bunch of different movies. So I saw that trailer like 100 times.
I feel like that's a title that just because I didn't know what the hell it was or anything, I didn't even give it a second glance, either on the shelf like somewhere or on the movie channels or whatever.
I want to say it was a little before Jay Baruchel kind of broke down in the States with like Knocked Up and stuff.
Right. Definitely that's the case.
What am I looking at?
It's been pinging a lot, and then I caught that. So yeah, I think I want to check that out. But I definitely I'm definitely digging Shoresy. If you like Leonard Kenny, I think you're gonna dig Shoresy. It does something different, but it's also got, I almost want to say, a bit of a mystery type of thing going on. Like there's not like supernatural or anything like that. Just there's shenanigans going on, and it doesn't entirely make sense as to what we saw.
Okay.
So yeah, they're leaving a few questions.
I let me just interject one thing. Jacob Tierney, he followed up the Trotsky with Good Neighbors, which it's a movie I've owned for a while, but I haven't watched yet. But it has another. It also stars Jay Baruchel, Scott Speedman, and stuff. But it's Jay Baruchel, I believe, in a villain role.
Really?
Which is weird because the only other time I'd seen him play, I guess you'd say like a dick or an asshole or something in a movie was Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, where he's like the asshole.
Watch that.
It's a good everything happens in one night kind of movie with like Michael Cera and stuff, and he just plays like an asshole ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
But apparently plays like a legit villain in this one.
Really?
Yeah.
And Tierney did that?
Tierney directed it, and yeah.
Really?
It was the one he did a year after the Trotsky. I didn't know about. I kind of knew about this movie because I was always paying attention to the indie film scene, but hadn't watched it yet.
Sorry, I just realized I haven't even been looking at the comments because I'm not used to having to do that, and I don't even know how to get to the comments. There they are. Hey, there we are. Hi, Steve-O. I am really sorry that I wasn't seeing the comments. I'm not used to having to be the controls here, and I didn't know how to do it. These directors are a bit jealous. Yeah. Okay, how do I do that? I'm going to throw this up here. So this is Steve-O throwing in some 2 cents. First about the what Elizabeth Olsen said regarding the diminishing of the crew.
Yeah.
Steve will agrees. And then regarding the directors who've made the comments, because Francis Ford Coppola has also said some things and so on.
Yeah. And, well, yeah, and it's hard to justify all the money they spent on The Irishman when it just goes straight to streaming. And
yeah, there is that too.
The ironic thing is, I think it's one of, if not the best movie he's ever made, in my opinion. Which makes it hurt all the more when he trashes all the comic book movies that
I haven't gone back to it. I haven't even watched it, and I really have no interest. I don't think I ever will.
I've seen it a couple times. Well, I also don't let whatever kind of person the director is influence how I feel about their movies.
Okay. Well, yeah, sometimes.
but I legit thought that was an amazing organized gangster mob movie kind of thing.
Yeah, but no, I think it's, for one, I will acknowledge that Scorsese's had some amazing flicks, and they are stellar films, but they're not ones that I go back to on a regular basis. Those are a special occasion. Those are like Whiskey Wednesday with my buddies. Like we'll watch some of those movies, but they're not ones that I generally see.
Yeah, he also tends to make pretty long movies, which are an investment in themselves.
Yeah, there is that. There is that, especially with his style, which is a lot more slow paced.
Yeah.
You know, if the pace is rolling, like most Marvel movies, the pace keeps rolling. You can get through a 2.5 hour movie and don't even realize it. You know, sometimes
that's true.
Sometimes you feel those minutes, but yeah, it's that can definitely be a factor. But
not to jump back on Scorsese's back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's moving on. But we're talking about the acting. I'm like, so like what John Cena gave us again with Peacemaker, in my mind, because I believed it, I felt it. You know, it was, that was acting. You know,
and I maintain to this day, in my opinion, that Robert Downey Jr.'s acting in Avengers Endgame is some of, if not the best acting of his career, in my opinion.
Yes. I would put their level of acting on par with many Oscar performances, like a Tom Hanks. You know, somebody like that they make you believe what they're doing.
Or for the two actors who've actually won Oscars for their comic book portrayal, coincidentally both for Joker.
Yeah, but you know, Leto is just a weird character, and Heath Ledger, I'm not arguing against it, but it has that similar shadow what the Black Panther had. So again, there's always that. I don't want to call it an asterisk, but there is a bit of an asterisk, you know.
What about Joaquin Phoenix though?
Sorry, for some reason I was thinking Jared Leto. I was thinking Jared Leto, not Joaquin Phoenix. Sorry. I was thinking wrong Joker.
That's okay.
Yeah, Joaquin, absolutely. No, he was stellar. Because we've never seen him go to that level before.
Right.
So, and in my mind, that's not a comic book movie. It's not. It is. It may be based on, but that is a far cry from a comic book movie.
Not your typical comic book movie, right?
There's no comic book movie in that movie. There's nothing there. Had you not known, had I gone into like a test screening where they tell you nothing, and you just watch it,
you might still get it. You might still get it because Bruce Wayne exists in the movie.
That's the only thing.
No, I know. And it might be something you're just watching the movie like, did they just
Exactly. Did I hear that right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, and the mention of Gotham. That immediately puts the hackles up. But I don't know. Is Gotham a strictly Warner Brothers thing?
Because I feel like it's a DC thing.
Well, but is it? I feel like the name Gotham or the term Gotham is a more generic term. But Gotham City specifically is their trademark. See, I question. I'm probably wrong. Stoner logic, but
I mean, it says Gotham City, or simply Gotham, is a fictional city appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics.
Okay.
Best known as the home of superhero Batman and his close allies. And it says Gotham City is traditionally depicted as being located in the U.S. state of New Jersey. And it was the look was primarily based on New York City. That's from Wikipedia when I just did Gotham or Gotham City.
That makes sense. Okay, so I'm wrong. It is strictly
no, it's okay, because there are some cities that are used in comic book movies that are very different from reality, but they have such a cool name, and it just seems to fit into that world.
I just felt like I'd heard the term Gotham used outside of a Batman reference? Like,
They have a Gotham Awards is a certain awards ceremony.
maybe it's something like that. Maybe I'd heard reference to that. I don't know. That's what came to mind.
Yeah. Well, apparently there's a Gotham, Nottinghamshire in England, but I don't think there's a Gotham, Wisconsin. maybe they got it from that.
Maybe. So with all the comic book stuff we've gotten, we've just been overwhelmed, oversaturated. We're seeing heavy trends. We're finally hitting a really strong stride of adult-oriented animation to get back to us OG nerds. And the only time we got anything like this was when we managed to get our hands on anime. We're in this play. Have you seen any of the new season of Love, Death, and Robots yet?
I haven't watched that at all. I've only heard about it.
Are you familiar with it at all? Like what the backstory is to it?
No. I've just heard the title a bunch.
Do you know what it is?
No.
It's a sci-fi animated anthology series.
Okay.
So every episode delves into sci-fi or sci-fantasy in some way, and every episode is animated in some way, whether it's CG, classic style, something like that. Some of it is not for kids. Some of it can be very violent. Some of it can be on the sexy side, dramatic. It's a lot of silliness and playfulness. A lot of it making some interesting social commentary.
I was just looking up. I thought I knew what it may have been, but there's a Netflix movie starring Dylan O'Brien from the Maze Runner movies and Teen Wolf and stuff, but it's called Love and Monsters. I thought that's what came to mind when you said Love, Death, and Robots. But
okay. So this whole series is executive produced by David Fincher.
Oh yeah.
Originally, this has its original origins in David Fincher wanting to do a new heavy metal movie. Don't even talk about the original. Don't even bother. Okay, just don't. But David Fincher wanted to do a new one, but for whatever reasons couldn't get it to come together. But then Netflix came along with this idea of wanting to do a sci-fi anthology series. And here we now have Love, Death, and Robots, which really, when you look at it, it is a heavy metal series. It is everything heavy metal encompasses. So that if that's not your cup of tea, then this show is not going to be for you. But I'll go
with the other David Fincher steered show, Mindhunters, which I watched. My girlfriend was big into it, and we watched a few episodes. We're planning on getting back to it, but that was a fantastically produced show, as far as I've seen.
I've heard good things about that one. Actually, that one I'd heard. I know a few people in my circle who watched that one, so it's on my radar. But I'll probably never ever get to it.
I'm also a huge fan of House of Cards, but
that's the one that had Spacey, right?
That's the one that had Spacey up until the last season. Yeah,
I watched the first season of that. I never went back to it.
I will say the first two seasons are great because you have him rising to become vice president, then you have him rising to become president, and then you have 3 seasons of him as president. Well, it's like, well, he's already at the top because it's like a diabolical, like him climbing up the political ladder, and then he gets there, and he's there for a few seasons, and then he's gone, and then Robin Wright jumps up. So it's the rest of the final 4 seasons are still good and sometimes great, but the first 2 are gold, in my opinion, just because of how he gets there.
Yeah, at the time I was giving everything a 1-season shot. And then it really came down to, because I was given everything a chance just based on buzz and whatnot.
I would say if you made it through the first season of House of Cards, you'd probably watch the second. It's the third season that I struggled with.
Yeah, I don't think I did get to the second, but I don't even remember. It was so long ago. It was like when it first aired, kind of thing.
Fair enough.
But I had to think about it because I did watch all of House of Lies with Don Cheadle.
I saw the first season of that, and I was entertained, but I didn't go back to it for whatever reason.
It was fun. It got a little weird, but it was really really fun. Really goofy too. It got a little crazy at times.
Yeah.
I cannot remember her name. There's this brunette.
Wasn't it Kristen? Oh, I thought you were saying.
Not Kristen Bell. Not Kristen Bell. There's this other girl. She comes in late, a little bit later, and she plays batshit insane. And I've seen her in a bunch of other stuff. And I'm sorry, I don't know her name, and I'm not going to try and look at it because I don't want to screw anything up.
Oh, fair enough. I only got through the first season, so.
But with all this plethora that we are receiving, we're starting to see signs of oversaturation.
Okay, that was the second time you said that, and I just want to stop you right. I just want to stop you right there.
Okay.
I disagree that the film or whatever world has been saturated by the comic book movies. I think people are saying that because the comic book movies are making more money. I think it's, if anything, it's oversaturated by chick flicks and horror movies. Even though horror movies are some of my favorite genre, there are a ton of them. There's a ton of chick flicks and dramas, but the comic book movies, I really don't. There's like maybe 4 or 5 a year total. How is that oversaturating?
But it's all people talk about. And when I say oversaturation, I mean us as the fan base. Are we getting oversaturated? Like, it's becoming harder and harder for all these properties to maintain a successful, rate. And we're starting to see that, it comes down to, I want to say Darwin, survival of the fittest. The weakest ones are getting cut off. CW has just dropped half their lineup.
I like how they're calling it the bloody axe of Zaslav.
James has joined us. Hello, James. Rob's
Hi,
out,
James.
But we're just chit chatting, and right now we're talking about the possible oversaturation of the market. CW dropped a few titles, and the only one people seem to be really upset about is Legends of Tomorrow. There appears to be a strong campaign online for Legends of Tomorrow to get a final closing season. Like, to give them an end. Because they've endured this long, they deserve an end. And I don't dispute that, even though I haven't watched since the After Crisis. I'm like, 2 seasons behind, 3 seasons behind. But I did enjoy the show all seasons,
but
it got so much better after the wonky first season.
Yeah.
They went crazy. They started having fun.
I had read that they actually changed up the show. They didn't change the cast, but they changed up the show.
They did. It took a drastic direction turn. Because the first season was so mixed to negatively received.
Yeah.
The Vandal Savage arc was not well received at all. I can attest. I was not fully invested. I was just trying to plug it through because I was really digging the Arrowverse and I really wanted it to get better, and it did. In fact, it's given me one of the most memorable things, one of the few things that I can remember clearly from the
unicorn thing?
The unicorn nipple, yes. The unicorn bit off my nipple. And then where that story goes.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, when a show can etch a memory of a unicorn biting off a dude's nipple, I think that's saying something. They're doing something right. But now you got that show, but again, they're fighting. They want him to come back. Batwoman's out, and Naomi, I guess, was a brand new one that I don't even think finished its first season.
Naomi?
I think it was called Naomi. The only ones that are still alive right now are Flash and Stargirl.
Stargirl, which looks ridiculous.
I know nothing. I think I've seen the odd ad, but nothing has stuck. I'm totally out of the loop on all that stuff. So
The furthest I ever got on any of those Arrowverse shows was The Flash. I watched all of the first season and I loved it, and didn't go back to it for whatever reason.
I watched all of them as they came until Arrow ended. When Arrow was done, I was done. And Arrow ended with one episode after the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover.
Really, just one?
I'm pretty sure it was just one episode.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, because that was their send off. That was their blow off episode. They were using it. They did kind of use it as a baton, a pass the baton moment, but it was also a good farewell moment.
Huh.
And now Amel has said he'd be interested in talking about coming back. And Emily Bett Rickards said, yeah, I could probably be talked into coming back.
Well, his character's dead, though, isn't he?
Come on. It's comic book movies, man. Nobody ever stays dead, especially not in DC.
Yeah.
Because they'll just reset the universe again.
Yeah, of course.
Because they say it. Every time they do that, they say it. This time, anybody who dies stays dead. And then they reset the universe, which undoes that.
Yeah.
That's their excuse. They'd rather not leave the door open for, resurrections. But yeah, they're willing to just etch-a-sketch the entire universe. I don't understand the logic. The sheer restructuring costs alone have to be unfathomable.
Well, they're gonna do some restructuring after the Flash movie comes out.
Oh, that's if it comes out.
If it comes out,
because of his shenanigans, that movie is like in total jeopardy now. I think I just heard that rumors, of course, that they're trying to see if they can't salvage the movie and re-edit it into a Batman movie.
Really?
Somehow, some way, they're trying to see if they can fix it into a Batman because of the Affleck and Keaton's connections. They want to see if they can make it more of a Batman-focused flick. Wow. A Batman in the Multiverse of Madness kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know, because I had heard rumors that they were dropping Ezra Miller and trying to look for a new Flash actor, possibly Dylan O'Brien.
They have to reshoot everything.
I know, which the movie apparently is already expensive enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it had multiple rewrites already, I think.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen with that one, and I haven't heard word one in probably a month or so.
The only reason I'm paying any attention to any of that is because they do have me on the just slightly on the hook with the whole Keaton and Affleck connection.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued. You've got me. You've got my attention. I'm looking in your direction, but right now, I've only turned my head. I'm still walking away. I'm still passing by. But with that, Morbius has severely underperformed.
I loved Morbius.
I still haven't watched it, but it has severely underperformed.
I admit the connections to the marketing snafus they did where they try and connect it to the Sony Spider-Verse and the MCU are a bit problematic with the post-credit scene but
I have no idea. This is how poorly that movie's done. I don't know any spoilers. None. Oh. I've heard no spoilers.
Oh, okay.
And I honestly don't care.
But if you take the movie just as what it is, a guy who turns into a vampire or whatever, I thought it was a cool movie. Very well done.
Hold on, I'm going to try something here. Hold on, earbuds. I'm going to try something.
Spoiler alert. Nice.
I found the button. Okay, go ahead. Explain what's the post credits. What's the connections?
Well, you remember from the trailers where you see Michael Keaton's character, Adrian Toomes, show up and say like, "Hey, Dr. Morbius." Hey,
Yeah, we
he's
should
saying
work
like,
together sometime or something.
no, he says like, tired of being the good guy or whatever. What's up, Doc? And you see him. Oh, it's like, oh shit! It's connected to like the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies and stuff. And then you see another clip from the trailer that I still have yet to. I always missed it, but there was apparently graffiti on the wall that had a picture of Spider-Man that said "murderer."
Yeah,
Which I never saw that in the trailer. And then there was the other one where, and part of this is in the movie where Morbius has a thug down on the ground. And he's like, "Who the hell are you?" And he's like, "I am Venom." And his face goes funny for a second. Then he goes, "Just kidding. I'm your friendly neighborhood doctor, Michael Morbius." Well, the "I am Venom" thing he does in the movie, and they mention the weird shit that happened in San Francisco. So it's connected to Venom in that Sony verse. But the post-credit scene is Morbius driving down a dark highway, and then he stops because he sees something flying towards him. Sorry, I have to back up. You see all of a sudden the same kind of flash that happened at the end of.
You want me to just go watch the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just watch the movie. I'll put you out of your misery and I'll just watch the movie, all right?
The movie's not terribly long. It's only like an hour and a half anyway.
Yeah, I know. I just because the whole mixed to negative. I just not looking forward to it. I'm not anxious for it. Put it that way.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I did go see Doctor Strange 2 again. In Ultra AVX Dolby Atmos.
I saw that.
That's the way to see that movie. Like,
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was a second viewing, I didn't have to pay as close attention to the story, so I could enjoy the view a little more the detail and whatnot.
The visuals,
like,
yeah.
The visuals, like the amount of detail of the little things on the octopus scene.
Shumagorath
was just so crazy. But then, I don't think I noticed in the first viewing that he actually did have a mouth. I just never noticed it because it's such a tightly woven mass of teeth,
right?
That I never noticed it. But yeah, it was a great way to see that movie.
Cool.
And seeing Sam Raimi's vision, his style with the wonky camera angles and when the Scarlet Witch is coming out of the gong.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. It made me want to see Evil Dead 2 in that kind of theater. Like,
one
I
of
feel
these days, maybe.
that would be a truly mind-bendy but truly disgusting experience to watch that film in that atmosphere.
Back to back with Army of Darkness.
Yeah. Yes. See, that's a good double bill.
Mm-hmm.
I did see the Chevy on the second viewing. I did keep my eyes open to see the Chevy because the Raimi trait.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't do on the second viewing is I did not stay to the end credit scene to see Bruce Campbell laughing hysterically because I really needed to pee, so I had to go. Not that you need to know that,
right?
But so you don't think we've reached? You don't think we're starting to get too much, and then or what do you think's just happening? You think it is just the quality's not there to maintain?
No, the quality's there. I don't think it's being oversaturated because we're not getting that many of them anymore. Not that we ever got that many of them to begin with. It was usually what 3, 4 tops a year, and it was all mostly. Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. See, I'm including everything. Like, we have all the TV shows and.
Oh, you're including the TV shows.
Yeah, when all that streaming stuff out there.
Well,
the entire.
I will say,
entire market.
that I think they might be spreading themselves a bit thin with the TV shows because who gives a shit about Stargirl and Black Lightning and some of the ones that you really wanted to succeed are the ones that got canceled, like the Runaways and Gifted,
I
like
heard good thing about
they were in the
Gifted. I
X Men.
enjoyed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
Gifted was cool.
I've heard Superman and Lois is good.
I haven't watched it.
I never had any desire to watch Supergirl or Batgirl, especially not after Ruby Rose left the show, and then
Supergirl was enjoyable and fun for the first, I want to say, season to 2 seasons, but then it started to get very, very preachy and like really pushing certain agendas, which I have no problem with the agendas. I have no problem with the representation, but they were doing it. They were really, really shoving it in your face. Like that was a focal point of the story.
right.
And I did not enjoy that. It was not written for me. I was not the target audience for it.
Right.
Remember I had that conversation with I cannot remember her name, but I had that
Uh,
conversation with her
yeah,
at CK Expo.
that from a few years back. Becky Scribner,
Yeah.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was her name.
Oh, I remember that conversation. Yeah,
Yeah.
And whatever, but and not every show is put out there for everyone. Some people are only going to like the ones in the X-Men universe. Some are only going to like the Marvel Netflix shows and not the Loki and Moon Knight Disney Plus shows.
Yep. Yep. I try recommending stuff to my dad all the time, and some of it he enjoys and some of it he doesn't, and that's fine. But then he finds shows on his own and he recommends them to me, and I give them a chance, and I'm like, I don't get it, but he likes it, so okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He's really high on some Australian show, but there's apparently some seasons missing. It's called Blue Healers.
Oh, can't say I've heard of that.
It had Hugh Jackman in it.
Really?
Way like I want to say it was like close to 20 years ago.
Oh,
early 2000s, mid 2000s, like something.
Well, 2000 is when he broke because that was the first X-Men movie.
Right. So, yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, my parents found this show and they were enjoying it, but there's seasons missing on whatever streaming service it has. So, which makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
But then again, I can remember being on Netflix looking for the Harry Potter movies, and they had 4, 5, 6, and 7. Not 1, 2, and 3. But that's why I like Crave, because Crave has them all lined up right there. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh,
big
okay.
number in the big number in the corner and everything. Even though we haven't gone back to it in a while, we're 4 deep, I think. I think Goblet was the last one we watched.
Oh, okay.
We've been slowly going through that.
Well, I think it's
franchise.
I think it's a rights issue thing.
For what?
For things being available on certain services, because for the longest time, I saw on Google Play Yellowstone season 1, 2, and 4 were on there. 3 never was. So I had to purchase 3 through iTunes, and then of course it pops up on Google Play. But it was like 1, 2, and 4, but not 3. Why?
That's weird. That is really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely the rights thing, because there are still a few Marvel movies on Netflix, but all of them, their clock is ticking, and they drop off Netflix sometime in the next 2 years, I think.
Yeah, because I think all the Marvel Netflix shows are Disney Plus now, right?
That all switched over. That all switched over last year,
right?
Or earlier this year. All those shows switched over. But there's still some of the last movies, like not Endgame. Endgame went right to Disney Plus. But I think maybe the 2 movies before Endgame might still be on Netflix and not on Disney Plus.
That'd be what, like Captain Marvel and Infinity War? Or Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Might be Ant-Man and the Wasp. Might even be one of the Spider-Mans.
No way. No, far.
Homecoming.
Oh, the first one. Oh, okay.
It might
I
be.
can see
I'm not
that.
entirely sure, but I feel like there's only a couple. Like there's not many left because
Interesting.
all the Star Wars stuff is already switched over.
Well, yeah.
Because that was like some of the first big properties that they needed to get that what they were waiting on.
Hmm.
But I think I think they've just about got everything that's under Marvel will be on Disney Plus. I think within the next 2 years, if not less. And
I'm not
then
surprised.
who knows how much Fox stuff is left?
Well,
That
Disney
has
owns Fox, so.
right, but how much Fox stuff is still on Netflix? When does
Ooh.
that transfer over? You know,
Oh.
that's why Netflix has been hemorrhaging money, buying up all the original properties that you can. They're losing a lot of libraries
Is
in
that
the
why they're
next few
dropping?
years.
Is that why they're dropping like millions of subscribers?
That too, yes,
Everyone's jumping to Disney
because
Plus.
there's so many other options out there, and all their favorites don't belong to Netflix.
Hmm.
In fact, I have to double check, but I'm pretty sure I'm now seeing Netflix shows on other services.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but
Net.
I
You
could
mean
have swore
Netflix originals?
yes.
Wow.
Unless it's not exactly a Netflix original, it was
Well,
distributed on Netflix first.
they like to throw the Netflix originals on there, even though it may not be, because Longmire for the first 3 seasons, I believe, was an A&E show, and
Right.
then it jumped to Netflix and became a Netflix original or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I remember it being an A&E thing. I remember seeing ads for it on A&E, and it was I
Hmm.
think we were still watching Storage Wars. I think at that time. Oh boy, I missed a bunch of stuff here.
Oh shit.
Um, Ardola jumped in. I'm sorry, Ardola. I'm running the board, and I'm not paying attention to that side of it. So let's catch you up here. So Ardola says, I haven't seen Stargirl. I tried watching Supergirl, wanted to watch Batwoman, but busy watching The Flash and Black Lightning. Well, at that time, Stargirl wasn't even a thing when I was still watching. Batwoman, I watched most of the first season. It was a jumbled mess, but Ruby Rose was awesome. But I found Batwoman to be a jumbled mess, like they didn't quite know where they were trying to go with it. But it did have some good moments, some good action moments too. Black Lightning, I'm not the audience. That's all I can say. I was not the audience for that. I didn't make it past 4 episodes. And The Flash, again, I dropped out of the Arrowverse after Crisis. So Flash had me for the first, I want to say 3-4 seasons. I was solid Flash. Like that show could do no wrong. I was digging it. And it just started to wane. And she said, huge fan of the Marvel shows, both on Netflix and Disney Plus. Oh, I've loved everything on Disney Plus so far. I think they just every single one of them has their own direction, their own vibe, and it works perfectly for that particular property. But the Netflix stuff, I'm kind of 50-50 on. Like I really dug Daredevil, of course, and its spinoff Punisher. Luke Cage was okay. It was passable. Iron Fist was annoying, and Jessica Jones was annoying, and Iron Fist was another mess. And I don't remember much about Defenders because I didn't enjoy it.
I watched, I want to say 4 or 5 episodes of the first season of Jessica Jones, and I liked it, but it wasn't enough to make me. I gotta watch the next one. Gotta watch the next one. Gotta watch the next one.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They didn't really. Not a lot of them really moved and held. So that it made for a little bit more of a trek to watch. But I'm finding all of the new ones. They've all been destination TV. Can't wait to watch that next episode. You know, that every single one of them has managed to keep me hooked solid there. All each with their own feel. Like Moon Knight was so stellar, because just when you think you've seen every top hot type of show you think we might have gotten from them, then they give us that. What a trip.
Mm-hmm.
And then that final image, that final thing, that final reveal, like what?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Still catching up because we got more people chiming in here, but I'm still going to catch up. We got Ardola here with earlier this year, the Netflix Marvel TV show switched over to Disney Plus for Canada. America got it later than us, so we got it before the Americans. Ha! Sony owns Spider-Man, so they can put it on Netflix. Ah, yes. Yes.
It's an excellent point.
Yes, Sony does still own Spider-Man, so yeah, they probably do get to decide that. But I do know that No Way Home is on Disney Plus.
Oh, and that would also apply to The Incredible Hulk being owned by Universal.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if that one is on Disney Plus, because that could be any.
Yeah. Oh, he's frozen. Well, if you can still hear me, yeah. Universal owns the rights to a solo Hulk movie, which is why the Hulk can appear in the Avengers or the MCU movies, but a solo Hulk movie has to be handled by Universal, and Universal doesn't seem to want to play nice with Disney.
Okay. Apologies. I just cut out. I have no.
I know. I saw you freeze, so I'm like, okay, I'll continue for a second.
Rolling. So there is still a legal dispute going on, is what you were saying?
Yeah. Apparently, yeah, Universal doesn't want to play nice with Disney like Sony is.
So interesting. How is that? Why they're sticking with this? The Ruffalo Hulk.
Well, it's not necessarily why they're sticking with. It's not necessarily why they're sticking with Ruffalo. Ruffalo's doing a fantastic job.
No, I mean Ruffalo Hulk. I mean,
it's why there hasn't been a solo Hulk movie since The Incredible Hulk. Because
that's why they're keeping him as Smart Hulk right now. Because it keeps them out of the Universal clutches, maybe because it's not their Hulk or something.
No, I as far as I know, it's just he can't appear in a solo Hulk, like a Hulk movie, but they can use him in other movies as a supporting role,
right? Or TV shows, because she's going to be in She-Hulk, which I'm not sure. I don't know that trailer.
I would like to see how She-Hulk gets the powers. And
you didn't see the trailer?
No, I saw the trailer, but they don't exactly say, because it goes back to the post-credit scene for Shang-Chi. Because if you watch the post-credit scene in Shang-Chi, Banner is Bruce again. He's got like the arm and the sling still, but he's not Smart Hulk anymore. So it either throws into question, did he lose that ability, or does Shang-Chi take place prior to Smart Hulk in the timeline?
Right. Well, yeah, that's definitely a question. Where does everything fall? Yes. But what I'm worried about with the trailer, sorry, I got to stick back to that, is
go ahead.
You're okay with the effects? You're okay with how questionable that looked?
What, the TV show? I thought it looked fine.
I feel like the effects
I think it looks
for her they don't. There's
okay. It looks silly that they have her as the She-Hulk walking into a courtroom, and she doesn't actually look as huge as Hulk usually does.
She doesn't get as huge as Hulk, though.
No,
she doesn't do that. She doesn't have the rage. She doesn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll reserve judgment till I watch it, because the only one of the Disney Plus shows I've been disappointed with was WandaVision, and it was partially because my former boss would have it playing while we were sitting there doing skip the dishes or whatever. So I wasn't seeing all the visual Easter eggs and cues that were going on. All I was doing was hearing, a lot of 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s shit going on. And it's like, I have no idea what this has to do with anything until we got towards the final episode or last 2 episodes, which were actually pretty cool when they had White Vision and stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
And Agatha Harkness, I thought was annoying, and so was that song. But
yeah, your perspective with the Marvel movies is you're definitely not. You're not a Marvel guy. That's well documented. You're just not completely a Marvel guy. Of course
I am.
No, you're not. You're not. Not with your opinion, your stance between Justice League and Avengers. Come on, like you're
only the first Avengers movie.
You're not a Marvel guy. You lean in the other direction. That's fine. That's fine. You're entitled to be wrong. That is fine. Okay. Let's catch a few others up here. So yeah, Ardola said Netflix raised their prices and they don't have the shows to keep the people.
Oh, that may also be true.
They're swinging for the fences with the Stranger Things season 4 build though.
Ooh, that'll be cool.
And the fact that every episode is essentially going to be a short movie, like going to be a
just
movie?
About, and they're splitting it up. So the first what is it, like the first 6 episodes, and then the final 2. The season finale is 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's crazy. The way they're splitting them up, it's crazy. But they're going to milk it, and you know, I want to have faith. The Duffer Brothers know what they're doing. This to me says that Netflix is just saying, "Go on, boys, just give us the gold," you know. And I think they're going to deliver. You know, they haven't proved this wrong. That show's been pretty solid from the get-go. So,
and the season 3, they really stepped up their game on the visual effects.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And it looks like they go to the next level again with the new season. So
yeah.
And then she said it's all good. She enjoys listening. Well, we enjoy having you listen to us, Ardola. Thanks for the input. Then we have Greg. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, J&J Connection. Is that like Power and Glory back in the day? I don't know. This in this kind of situation, it's almost like, you know, where the face and the heel come together for a mutual enemy almost. And then we got the you're without your Doctor of Style this week. Yes, yeah. Rob's out for personal reasons. And I think that is it. I caught up all the comments. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk or discuss?
Me, no. I don't think so.
Okay. I still think Rob hasn't given his 2 cents on that casting idea that I threw at you in the chat. I don't want to say what it's about on here, but
yeah,
come on. It's going to be fun.
I was worried. I'm not terribly interested. I mean, I'm morbidly interested in that, but I don't know if I am that interested enough to do casting.
Okay. Greg, now Greg's trying to start a fight before we end the show here. First off, he says, well, he's glad to listen to the show. Again, we're glad that you listen to the show. But then he has to go and throw this in there. Come on, Greg. Really? Why you gotta go and, you know, kick the hornet's nest? That's just wrong.
I will say, right? one of the last movies I saw in the theater, and this tells you how long it's been since I watched a movie in the theater, was with Greg in Ottawa. It was Joker.
Really?
That's one of the last times I've been to the theater to see any movie.
Really?
In the theater, yeah.
That's crazy. I do highly recommend, though, if you are going to go to the theater, don't go to the Chatham Theater. No, it's worth the drive. It's worth the drive to Devonshire because they have the full reclining seats. That is worth the price of admission alone. It is so damn comfy. The
recliner seats are nice. I've only done that in Ottawa.
I think every theater in Devonshire has it. So it's nice. It's really nice. It's the only way to see a movie. All right, so I guess we're going to call it there. Oh, and Ardola's jumping in here too. I think we're going to have a scrap. Marvel movies now are better than DC. Sorry, Greg. The box office don't lie in it when you look at this, okay? And but when it again all comes down to personal preference, we all just have to agree that, you know, Marvel and DC can coexist. They can share the space, you know. We don't need to have a rumble. This isn't West Side Story. We're good. Although, just throwing this out there, with the right kind of magic, I'm just saying an amalgam, maybe 2-part or a 3-part flick deal. Do the amalgam universe from back in the 90s. Have a little fun with it. Just saying. But there's way too many moving parts to really make that feasible.
And there's room at the table for the fringe ones like Hellboy.
Now you're going for a full on. What you're now trying to go for is like this quasi multiversal friggin' SmackDown is what you're talking.
No. I'm just talking like there's room for Marvel and DC to coexist with a little bit on the side for the Dark Horse.
Keep your fringe projects. We need those. We need those fringe projects. Those fringe projects stand out.
Yeah.
They don't look like all the other stuff, so they stand out. They're fresh. They become our guilty pleasures sometimes, or they're just quirky enough. Scott Pilgrim's been popping up a lot again lately, and I think I put that in that same category. So
technically, yeah.
Greg's throwing up here. He's got James Knows at 5 minutes from the best theater.
It's a nice one. It is a nice one.
And then he said, "It's okay, Ardola. I empathize. Some people just don't know any better." And then we got, "I love Michael Keaton Batman. Oh, don't we all? And come on, please, let's get that Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton as the aged Bruce Wayne. I will happily take that. I'll take Keaton or I'll take Affleck, depending on the tone of the flick. Okay, if you're going with a darker, grittier Batman Beyond, I want Affleck.
Because you're not getting Bale back without Nolan.
Oh, I don't need Bale. Bale's not in the conversation.
He's the best Batman.
We're not having that conversation right now.
Okay.
We're not having that conversation right now. But no, right now online chatter is you're looking at Affleck or Keaton. Again, it depends on what kind of direction they want the Batman Beyond movie to be. I say dark and gritty, you go Affleck. If you're going to go a little bit more fun and playful, you go with Keaton. I think that's your two directions there.
But for the moment, they're also continuing with Pattinson because the Batman was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome.
Good.
I was impressed. Great.
Batman's the greatest series. Prove me wrong.
You got to be specific on which series.
Yeah, you got to say which series, and then how do you compare? Because you can't compare it to Iron Man, because Iron Man isn't a series of 3 films. It's 3 films that are a part of a 20-film narrative. If you're going to say greater series, Batman versus the Marvel Universe, that's the only comparison, because the Marvel films themselves don't stand alone. They all have other connections.
DC's the ones that are doing standalone films, yeah.
Right. DC tried to do the crossover, and they stumbled pretty hard. So, they haven't been able to find the right mix. And Marvel does.
We'll see what Zaslav does.
Yeah. Well, who knows? And you never know. They could suddenly just find that right mix, hit that right switch, get that one right person. Hit that one spark, that lightning in the bottle, that could just skyrocket them past.
Because I imagine
it's probably not going to be Aquaman 2.
Because I imagine some people were worried after you get Iron Man, which was a hit out of the gate, Incredible Hulk, which some people thought kind of disappointed,
but some people were kind of disappointed, but it was still better received than the Ang Lee one.
And then you follow that up with Iron Man 2, which a lot of people dislike.
True. I really enjoyed it, but yes, I know
Same here.
It was mixed receipt, but still not a failure, not a bomb.
No, not a failure.
Marvel has not had any real bombs. Morbius, notwithstanding, is that entirely the right Marvel though, because that's under the Sony whatever, right? But
That is true.
Marvel under Disney, Marvel itself, or Marvel
MCU.
under Disney, MCU, has
MCU.
not had a bomb.
No, they've just had critical I would say critical failures. Iron Man 2, Thor 2, Avengers 2.
I think Captain Marvel gets a little bit of flack in there.
Maybe a little. More specifically, Brie Larson.
Maybe.
Morbius.
All right, and then we got one more from Ardola here. She says, Greg, agreed. Cartoon was amazing. 90s Batman, the first two were the best. Gotham was great. And throw some love to Adam West. Absolutely.
I still got to get back to Gotham. I watched the first episode.
Gotham was a series. Like, it does become a little bit of a plod later on. Like, it does. Like, you really got to kind of dig in a bit. But if you stick with it, you get some nice surprises, a lot of interesting takes and twists. They have a lot of fun with it, and Cameron Monaghan just crushes in the later seasons of that show.
Nice,
crushes. But we do need to always throw some props out to Adam West. Come on, he was a lot of us. That was our first Batman. All right.
Yeah.
And we do agree, Ardola, absolutely. And although I'm a huge fan of the Bale Batman, and you know what, some people do, and I did like those movies. I watched Batman Begins many times. I thought Batman Begins was phenomenal. I thought Dark Knight is a truly stunning flick. I don't go back to it all that often. I put it in a special shelf there where it's one that I know I enjoy it a lot, and it's the one that I don't revisit a lot because I want it to stay special when I do. You know, I don't want to become numb to it. So I don't revisit it often at all. And Dark Knight Returns was good, just doesn't quite have the impact. But coming off Dark Knight, you know, they gave us the best they could coming out from under that shadow. And here we go. Batman Begins was amazing as it looked at a bad guy not covered in many. Yeah. Yeah, it had one villain. He's right. You know, they like to throw, how many challenges can Batman face at one time kind of thing. You save that. You don't start with that. You got to build to it, damn it. All right, let's call it a day. So I guess that's it then for another week at the Movie Madhouse. I'm Jason.
I'm James.
And we will see you next week. Bye.
Toodles.